Guess I'm your new neighbor.
12 years of the beloved sitcom The Big Bang Theory has finally come to a close, and I thought I'd make a video on my take on the series finale and how well it wrapped up the series as a whole. I know for certain that this show has actually changed my life. It is the reason I became interested in STEM and the reason that I am the person I am today. I'm sure a lot of others have had similar experiences from watching the show over the past decade as well. The series finale was a bit of a roller coaster of emotions and perspectives. The extended episode started off with Sheldon becoming overwhelmed by the abundance of changes going on around him, from winning a Nobel Prize and not entirely knowing what to do with himself anymore, to Amy changing her appearance. I felt that this plotline was alright, but it seemed that at the time I was watching it, that they could have chosen something else to focus the finale on. It just felt slightly off considering that we've seen Sheldon adapt and become more open to change throughout the entire series. So it didn't seem fitting to end the series with him struggling to adapt to change yet again. It is worth mentioning, though, that the moments that the writers used this last episode to their advantage were incredibly entertaining and satisfying. When Leonard slapped Sheldon with little hesitation, and when Leonard finally touched the molecule structure in their apartment after 12 years of not touching it, my jaw dropped. Especially knowing that they were writing these things solely because it was the last episode of the series.
I bet that's the reason.
I went on to feel slightly off yet again when the show went in depth on Penny's pregnancy. All of the other main female characters had expressed interest in having children or had children at some point in the show, so it was really great to see a character like Penny changing up the status quo of the show and deciding to not have children despite social pressures. It felt like they had built up that perspective in Penny throughout much of the series just to completely change that in the final episode. One could argue that if Leonard and Penny's situation were to happen in real life, that their reactions would have been very fitting and, if anything, the best reaction possible. But I just wished, while watching the episode, that the writers could have stuck to changing up social norms and focusing less on pregnancy and marriage of the female characters like they had for the past few seasons.
Can you believe it? They finally fixed the elevator.
Still, the last episode made room for a lot of surprising firsts. We were able to see Howard and Bernadette's children for the first time, and even the apartment elevator that has been broken for the past decade began functioning properly again. And although I felt indifferent about Penny's pregnancy, the way that Sheldon fully congratulated her and Leonard about the news was absolutely perfect. During Sheldon's Nobel Prize speech, he not only thanked his friends and family, but he also referenced the first season of the show and mentioning that he was there when Leonard and Penny met, and that Leonard said that their babies would be smart and beautiful. Reflections on past moments in the series like this are really what made this series finale so special in the end.
I wouldn't be up here if it weren't for some very important people in my life, beginning with my mother, father, Meemaw, brother and sister.
The overall ending message of this episode is really what made me move on from any little issues I had with the finale. The way that the writers show Sheldon's mindset from self-centered to considerate of others and compassionate for his friends and second family was an amazing way to end the episode and the series as a whole. Each of Sheldon's friends that have stuck by his side for so many seasons stood up one by one during his Nobel speech, and instead of bringing rue to all of those who didn't believe he would make it in physics, he congratulated and praised his friends for always being there for him throughout the years.
And tolerated, not only by my wife.
I did appreciate the show leaving the stories of many of the characters open for future interpretation. We know that Sheldon and Amy will likely continue to let their relationship and professional careers grow and flourish. Leonard and Penny's future is also very open-ended, especially with their smart and beautiful baby coming into the world. I can only hope that someone might create a spin-off for their child. But at the same time, it seems as if creating a spin-off might ruin the perfection of this finale. Bernadette and Howard's children will also grow up in ways we will never see. All things that I'm actually happy to not know because in a way it allows the characters to continue living on in our minds. I somewhat expected the last episode to feature some cataclysmic ending where all of the characters packed up their bags and moved, or something more drastic changed, but I really appreciate the show ending virtually in the way it began. The main difference is that we see emotional closure for all of the characters, including Sheldon. In a way, seeing the characters receive this emotional closure helped the audience receive it as well. All I can say with absolute certainty is that the bittersweet end scene, with all of the characters eating takeout around the main table in Leonard's apartment, was one of the most special scenes in the entire show, and probably in all of sitcom history. It was a perfect way to end the episode and a perfect reflection on the past 12 years. The Big Bang Theory has left a true imprint on American culture and society, and has made sitcom history. So even with the final episode's quirks, the finale was the best way the show could have ended.
Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state that nearly 14 billion years ago expansion started. Wait. The earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall, we built the pyramids. Math, science, history,